Well, good evening, Rainsville, Alabama. Thank you kindly. Thank you for being with us this evening. Y'all ready to have some fun? Here's a little tune called Legend of Wooley Swan. Make a strong man die from fright. Things that crawl and things that fly, things that creep around on the ground. And they say the ghost of Lucius Clay gets up and he walks around, but I couldn't believe it. Just had to find out for myself, and I couldn't conceive it. Cause I never would listen to nobody else, and I couldn't believe it. Well, I just had to find out for myself. Now there's some things in this world you just can't explain. Old man lived in the Wooley Swamp way back in Booger Woods. Never did do a lot of harm in the world, he just never did do no good. People didn't think too much of him, they all thought he acted funny. The old man didn't care about people anyway, all he cared about was his money. He'd stuff it all down in the mason jars and bury it all around. And on certain nights, if the moon was right, he'd dig it up out of the ground. Then he'd pour it all out on the floor of his shack and run his fingers through it. Yeah, Lucius Clay was a greedy old man, that's all that there was to it. But I couldn't believe it. Just had to find out for myself, and I couldn't conceive it. Never would listen to nobody else, and I couldn't believe it. Well, I just had to find out for myself. But there's some things in this world you just can't explain. Kegel boys is white trash who lived over on Carver's Creek. And they were mean as a snake and sneaky as a cat and belligerent when they'd speak. One night the oldest brother said, yo, meet me in the Wooley Swamp later, and we'll take old Lucius's money and we'll feed him to the alligators. Found the old man out in the back with a shovel in his hand, and 13 rusty mason jars he just dug up out the sand. And then they all went crazy and they beat the old man and they picked him up off the ground. And then they threw him in the swamp, stood there and laughed as the black water sucked him down. Then they turned around and went back to the shack, picked up the money and ran. They hadn't gone nowhere when they realized that they were running in quicksand. And they struggled and they screamed and they couldn't get away. And just before they went under, they could hear that old man laughing in a voice as loud as thunder. And that's been 50 years ago, and you can go by there yet. And there's a spot in the yard in the back of that shack where the ground is always wet. And on certain nights, if the moon is right down by that dark footpath, you can hear 3 young men screaming. You can hear one old man laugh. Never go back in the Wooley Swamp, you better not go at night. There's things out there in the middle of them woods that make a strong man die from fright. Things that crawl and things that fly, things that creep around on the ground. And they say the ghost of Lucius Clay gets up and he walks around, but I couldn't believe it. Just had to find out for myself, and I couldn't conceive it. Never would listen to nobody else, and I couldn't believe it. Well, I just had to find out for myself. Now there's some things in this world you just can't explain. Yeah, there's some things in this world you just can't explain. Thank you so much. Thank you, we appreciate it. We're doing a song for you right now that back in my misspent youth, I lived in El Paso, Texas for a while, and once in a while I used to go across the border to Juarez, Mexico. Oh, about every night. But I kind of fell in love with Mexican culture. I fell in love with Mexican music and the Mexican people. And I wrote a song. I guess this song probably started back then somewhere, and I was not even aware of it till many years later when I wrote it. This is a song about a bullfight.